Saturday morning, January 4th. I'm walking into Lakeview Fitness, it's my local gym. Meet my business partner, Jeff, who will be part of the e-bike team this year after completing a big goal that he had for 2019, which was to ride the equivalent of 3,000 miles in a single year. He achieved it. He was looking for a new goal. He's the co-owner of Impakt Media, which is the title sponsor of the team. So I said, dude, why don't you just join on board and be part of this e-bike team? He obliged, he's excited. We're training. It's not easy to run a company, build a team and find time to train, but make it a priority. So we're gonna go and get this training session in.
My name's Colin Bierman. I'm racing in the Masters class for the Specialized GNCC eMTB series.
So when I was a kid, probably 11 or 12 years old, I met Colin at Walmsley Cycles. BMX started to become the scene in West Virginia, greater Pittsburgh area, and I started to go to the bike shop to learn about BMX bikes, and that's where I got my bikes, and I grew a friendship with Colin, and over the years, I mean, he's been pretty much my #1 riding partner, and even though I'm in my early 30s and he's in his 50s, I mean, he's one of my really close friends. So ultimately, when I saw him last year, I was heading to a BMX race and he's heading to this e-bike thing. And he was telling me a little about it, and then we came back and he had won that weekend. And he kind of kept talking about the e-bike thing, And he knows what I like as far as riding. He's ridden with me all these years. And I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. So he took me out on a ride and I was immediately hooked. I got an e-bike and then I went to 3 or 4 of the races last year with him. So he was a big part of why we put together this team. He won a national championship last year. He knows a lot about the sport. He knows a lot about GNCC and the culture. So I came to him with this crazy idea of, hey, what do you think about putting this team together? And he was like, I think it would be cool. So then I went and pulled all the strings and pulled it off. But I went back to Colin and was like, hey, I want you to be on the team. I want you to, not just be one and done. I want you to try to defend your championship and be one of the leaders of the team in the Masters class. And that's exactly what he did.
I would say career-wise, man, started lifetime rider. From when I was a kid with my parents. As a teenager, got my first road bike and had the ability to be able to just go explore. When I moved to Morgantown in 1986, through needing service, went to Walmsley Cycles and met up with those guys, became friends with them, started riding with them, and then really just kind of by hanging out, started working for them one summer as a summer job and never left. So started originally racing mountain bikes with the guys at the shop, and then had the opportunity to do some road racing because we were training on the road for fitness for the mountain bike races. Everything from time trials, criterium races, full-on road races, stage races. Got into that for a few years, was doing some downhill racing, and when Specialized first came out with their first Levo, it changed everything. It was all the fun, and still a lot of the fitness, but none of the suffering. And then when the racing scene started, I jumped right on board. Traveled to all the races last year to compete in those. Had success at the beginning, won the first race, and then I was like, well, I should try the second race, and I won that. And then I was in, and then got to Loretta Lynn's, and a fellow from North Carolina showed up, Barry Ray, and he was fit. So that was another race where I went all out the whole time, but I ended up second, and that gave me some motivation to, put it down at the next races. And then after that, that was the only race that I lost last year. I had won a national championship GNCC on a dirt bike, but this was more like more important to me because it was more my thing. The bicycle was me. And then to get recognized through the GNCC with a national championship was it was something super special. My goal is to win another national championship for sure. Per race, it's go as hard as I can, get the best result. I think as a racer, I know there's always faster people. And I understand that, but I want to win. I want to go to every race, and when I go to that race, I know that I can fight for the win. And yeah, that's my goal is to win that national championship, but it's also do as best as I can, representing the team now, take it one race at a time and go hard.
So it's still cold out in north central West Virginia, but it's bearable now to where the trails have dried up enough. The parks are open back up again as far as being a good spot to ride. So the bad part is we're running out of time before the first race. So we're doing whatever we can do and getting in any type of riding that we can get in. So the first ride of the season comes along, and everybody's excited, and we got guys that aren't even on the team coming out to ride with us just because that community of cyclists, they're just ready to hit the trails. The problem with riding early in the season is there's a lot of stuff that have fallen out of the trees that are on the trails that haven't been blown off yet, and I think we had that harsh reality on our first ride. What was supposed to be a solid 2-3 hour day of riding and just team bonding kind of turned into carnage and messed our day up and kind of ended everything short.
Something flip and smash this thing, dude. It's clicking. I mean, it hit it so hard that it pushed it back and locked it out.
So the problem is all the stuff that's just flying up off the trail is getting into our drivetrains, or what we call a derailleur, and in some cases for a few of the guys it literally ripped them off, right? If you get the smallest of a twig, if it gets sucked up in that derailleur, it can wrap everything up and then it twists the metal, and it's meant to break off so that you don't further damage your bike. So unfortunately, about an hour in, not even, that happened to Colin. And then, something flew up and blew several teeth off my jockey wheel, which keeps the chain on the derailleur. Jeff had a malfunction. And then kind of to top it off, Colin had already called it a day. He left, and we're like, well, we'll keep riding. Our bikes are salvageable. And then not 15, 20 minutes later, Adam, we're 4 miles back in, and he rips his derailleur off. So it's kind of like, whether it's a sign from God or whatever you want to say, it's like, hey, it's time to call it a day. It was just enough for everybody to get excited about the season, but definitely a bummer that we weren't able to get more in, and a little bit of a stressor because I think everybody was hoping to shake their legs out leading into the race, and it was kind of a wasted opportunity.
Even though we had bad luck today, good riding, man. I'm excited for this year. It's going to be fun hanging out with everybody. Jeffrey, what'd you think? The real maiden voyage. You survived it. I mean, your bike pretty much did. Yeah.
So our XC1 rider, or our pro class rider, Nathan Meisner, super fast kid, great kid, awesome family, somebody we're excited to have on the team. He's only 18 years old, so he's fresh out of high school. He's in his first year of college. He's got a lot of stuff going on, and he's never ridden he's ridden an e-bike, but he doesn't own one. And we're in that process of getting his e-bike from Specialized, and just the complications of getting that were cutting it really close to having it by the first race. Obviously, Nathan doesn't want to show up to the first race and then not have any time on the bike. And we don't want Nathan to not have his bike for the first race. We've put all this time and energy into building this team. We want our premier class rider to be on that 2020 Specialized Turbo Levo, not an older model bike. It needs to be what it needs to be. So, he had been trying, I'd been trying, Colin had been trying, and just things weren't coming together. And I wasn't sure that he was gonna have his bike, so it was creating a lot of stress.
Hey man, what's going on? Hey, I still don't have an update on Nathan's bike. Our XC1 Pro rider, we are 2 weeks out from from the first race, and man, we just don't have a bike. If he doesn't show up to round 1, he doesn't qualify. The pros have to race all 8 races to qualify. So he did offer to utilize his dad's bike to at least show up to round 1 and get points in, which is great, and it's gracious of his dad to offer that. The problem is his dad has a 2018 Kenevo, so it's an older model enduro style bike. I mean, listen, dude, I put a ton of work in, a ton of money in, and I didn't do all this for the kickoff of this e-bike team to be the first one in the country to show up and our pro rider be on a 2018 enduro downhill style bike. So I don't know what to do. We're running out of time, so we need to get this figured out. So yeah, as you just heard, our pro doesn't have a bike yet. And we got to get that figured out because, I mean, it is February 28th and we're going racing on March 14th. So not only do I need him to have a bike, I need him to be able to get some time on that bike. Like, we got seat time last weekend, which is why the Levo's behind me. I'm getting some seat time this weekend, and our pro has not been on his bike. So we're putting him at a disadvantage if he doesn't have his ride. So frustrating, worrisome, whatever, we just gotta figure it out. It is Sunday, March 8th. We're officially less than a week out from the first race of the season. We're getting ready to go do a group ride, the final group ride. The majority of our team is going to be out today, minus Jeff. Getting 60 helmet, ready to ride. Today's a important day because our pro, Nathan Meisner, who's racing in the XC1 class, finally got his race bike. And he is new to eMTB racing. Grew up racing cross country, enduro, so this is something very new to him. So we're shaking out the bugs on the race bike today with him. I think his dad's actually going to come out on the ride, and I'm excited because I don't know if you can see. Let's flip it around. We're testing out for the first time the 2020 Specialized Turbo Kenevo. So if you're not super familiar with Specialized and e-bikes, this is more of a downhill enduro style bike. Definitely not what we'll be racing next weekend. We got a race bike already prepped and ready to go, so we're not going to take it out. But we are going to take this out and have some fun with it. As you can see, we got the dual crown forks, coil suspension, flat back, black looking clean. Obviously tricked out with the Cush cores. So I'm very excited about that. It's going to be a lot of fun today. Obviously today is, fitness, but more just working on bike skill, having fun, and taking you guys along for the ride. So we're going to meet the guys in about an hour and get the ride on. Blitz by Arma. I have used some form of nutrition supplement since I started working out in high school. No BS, this is the first thing in a very long time that I can feel a difference while I'm working out, as far as being able to sustain the level of push that I want without it making me feel jittery. Like sometimes you feel super jittery if you take some type of nutrition supplement, like a pre-workout or whatever. Stuff's awesome. We're gonna break it in today.
Absolutely. We are excited.
All right. Right before our final team ride, before the season kicks off, Nathan's bike arrived. So we're happy about that. And now we're all gonna get a ride together as a team one final time before we load up and head to Georgia in just under a week. We're doing it at Baker's Ridge in Morgantown, West Virginia. A bunch of really good terrain for us to ride as a team and to push ourselves and just make sure everything is shaken down the way it needs to be on the bike. So we're excited about this ride. No issues like the last time, and it was a successful day.
What do you think of that thing?
It's a beast.
Compared to the, would you have Stumpy?
Stumpy, yeah.
So the thing that I love most about it is, number one, there's just power in spades. Like, I have only dipped into turbo for like maybe a couple of times.
Right.
Like, once you figure out kind of how to weight the bike, it hides its weight so well. Right now, I have eco set in 35% support and 50% peak power. I have trail set up at 50% support, 80% peak power, and I have turbo at 100. And like with that, I have been in eco and trail, definitely more eco than trail. Like, that was my thing, is I always rode my dad in like turbo and just like,
Yeah.
And I don't feel the need to do that on this bike.
First day on the 60 helmet was a non-issue. It was super comfortable. You know, it never moved around like any of my other helmets that I've had in the past that have a different type of protection system. And yeah, really stoked on the feel of it and yeah, the comfort of it. I just didn't notice it the whole ride, so I always think that's a good thing about a helmet.
What about the Cush course today?
Cush cores were on point.
You have them in the Kaniva too, right?
Yeah, have them in both bikes. Yep.
Does Adam have them in now? Yeah, he's got the Cush cores in.
Just got Adam set up with Cush cores.
Are you riding home in that? With the muddy butt?
Dude, race car.
All right, we ready for race day?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've got our XC1 Pro. How's the first day on the bike?
Absolutely fantastic. 16 miles and we still got 50% battery left.
That's what I'm talking about.
No complaints.
All right, well, it's the day before we leave for round one. It's also, all hell is breaking loose. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. This is crazy. Today alone, NCAA tournament, men and women's, have been completely canceled. Major League Baseball has been put on hold. Hockey's been put on hold. NBA, I believe, has been canceled. The Supercross races have been, this weekend's race in Indy has been put to no fans. Seattle, Washington has been canceled. So all of these events are getting canceled. And it's 5:30 on Thursday. We leave tomorrow morning early to drive to Georgia, and this event has not been canceled. Now, GNCC is a client, so I've been talking to you know, the powers that be there, and as of right now, it's still on as long as Georgia doesn't put some type of a mandate in about large groups and events. So it's out of their control. We could be driving down there tomorrow and it get canceled. Just, we're at a weird point in history right now. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's unfortunate from a business standpoint, very stressful. Obviously for my business, everybody's business. Yeah, it's just stressful, man. I mean, we've put a lot of work in to get ready for the season, and we're making our debut tomorrow, and Scott Sipkovic from ARMA is going to be there, and then, or not tomorrow, this weekend, but Scott's going to be there from ARMA. Just a lot of, I mean, it has the makings to be a really cool, great, successful weekend. It's 5:30 on a Thursday. It could be all taken away. So as of this clip, we're still going racing. I mean, we got the speed ready. We got the Specialized Levo ready to go. We took the spare battery out of the Kanivo so that I've got a backup to do a little bit of pre-riding before the race and still have a full battery. Man, this is crazy. Everybody's just freaking out and panicking. And yeah, I don't even know what to say. So I just literally pulled my phone out 5 minutes after shooting that clip, and we're still on as of right now. GNCC put out at this time, the general GNCC is set for this weekend in Washington, Georgia. It will proceed as scheduled unless notified To the contrary, by local authorities, Georgia government, Kemp urges the sick and vulnerable to avoid large events and mass gatherings. Just picked up Colin. Did you bring hand sanitizer? We got matching shirts on today too.
That's super cool.
Oh yeah, it's cute.
So here we are.
What's going on?
Princeton, West Virginia. We found out that the GNCC down in Georgia might get canceled, but they're not going to announce it until 3 o'clock. It's just now about noon. So we're like, what do we do? Do we keep driving? Do we hang out in Princeton, West Virginia for a few hours?
Which, if you don't know, there's nothing to do, and then there's another level of there's absolutely nothing to do.
Yeah.
We're one below that.
Especially if we don't want to like expose ourselves.
We got the Germex.
Got the Germex.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna.
Got to use the restroom before we're terrified. It's like the apocalypse is coming, but we don't really realize it.
Things are changing really quickly, not just in cycling, but all sports. I mean, earlier yesterday, you know, the Indianapolis Supercross was going to be held without fans, and then now, you know, not even 24 hours later, it's completely canceled. So now, you know, Colin and I are on our way down. It's about a 8.5, almost 9-hour drive to where we have to go, and we're a few hours into it, and we find out from Adam that the governor of Georgia is supposed to hold a press conference, and we waited in a parking lot in the middle of nowhere in West Virginia for 5 hours waiting for this press conference, and nothing. And finally we're like, okay, as of right now, all reports from GNCC say that this thing's still happening. So we just kind of rolled the dice and headed on. Unfortunately, after all the stuff that we went through with trying to get Nathan's bike here on time and him being excited to make his pro debut, just with all the reports and the state of emergency that President Trump put out, like there's all this stuff going on that, you know, the decision was made that Nathan and his dad would turn around and go back because we honestly weren't sure if we were going to get locked out of the state. That's how uncertain we were. Colin and I kind of rolled the dice. Nathan and his dad made the decision, which we supported, to stay safe and stay at home to keep from potentially getting locked out. So unfortunately, you know, Nathan isn't going to make the trip down, which he's super bummed about. We're obviously bummed about, but he'll make that pro debut at the next round. So the race is happening, believe it or not. I have no idea how, but the race is going to go on as of right now. All right, well, we made it. We're at the Airbnb. So we waited, how long did we wait in the Walmart parking lot? 5 hours?
Like 11:45,
Yeah.
and we left at like 4:30 something.
They didn't cancel the race. I think it's the only professional sporting event in the country that didn't get canceled, so apparently we're racing tomorrow. So we'll see you guys in the morning. All right, well, we're out here. It's a beautiful day. Everybody, I don't know, people aren't that on edge. It's like a little bubble, man, you know? It's like kind of relieving. And everybody's just kind of carrying on about their business out here. Hey, check it out. We got Mr. Armo, we got Scott Sepkovic, came all the way out.
Here in Georgia.
That's right, man. And is this the first GNCC for you this year?
First GNCC ever.
Ever? I didn't realize that.
I think before it was called GNCC, I did a hair scramble back in the day at High Point.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thanks for your support this year, man. We're excited to rep the brand and
Forward to seeing what you guys got.
yeah, the product's pretty cool. We're all enjoying it. So,
Most importantly, it's enjoyable, but it gets the job done. It helps
does.
you push to the finish, achieve something you didn't think you could.
yeah. And it's on the, was it Informed Sports? Is that what it's called?
Informed Sport certified, so no banned substances. Professional athlete here.
Right.
Crusades.
Yeah. We got one pro on the team. I'm not a professional athlete, but I still want to be safe, so.
All right, well, we got you covered.
That's right. Appreciate it, man.
Good luck today.
Yeah, appreciate it. We got Coop Dog, we got Adam. Look at this guy, total celebrity.
All set, ready for the
That's right. You ready to ride? Here's the pit setup. Pretty cool. Coop Dog, you excited? Yeah. You gonna win today? That's right. What do you think of the track?
Yeah, so far the track is it's awesome. You know, it's dry for the most part. Excuse me. Little loamy in the woods. beautiful course.
It really is.
Yeah.
It'll be fast.
Is it better than last year's, or is it the same course?
No, I mean, it's a lot of the same woods. I think they just kind of floated a little bit differently, and then
That's fun.
maybe even just slowed it down a little bit so you didn't have these like big sections of like open. It's a lot more using the woods.
Cool.
Yeah, it was
just enough traditional GNCC mud in there to make it GNCC. Yeah. But it was also an excellent e-mountain bike course.
Yeah. So we're going through tech inspection. I'll show you how this works. So we have these little transponders right here. When we do a lap, it tells scoring where we're at. So we're gonna go through tech inspection and do a little test. Thanks, man. Good to go? Thank you, sir. So we're pre-riding the course, just kind of doing sighting laps. And we look for different lines that we can take. So you've got a line that comes straight through here and goes long, but then Colin found this inside line. It cuts off all that. Now the rule in GNCC is you can do 20 feet from the main line. So all of that is in it's fair game. So the weather in Georgia is awesome. The track is awesome. It's almost like we're in this little bubble to where the panic, it hasn't really set in down here, and everybody's just kind of going on as normal, keeping a safe distance, of course. But it's nice to be at the race because there's mass chaos and panic going on everywhere. But here we're kind of just focused on one thing, and it's our team and doing well and putting in a good result and having fun. So, you know, I'm happy that we came, and I think it's gonna end up being a really good day. So we just got done pre-riding. Colin and Cooper and Adam, we're all gonna get some food in us. Wanted to run you through a couple things that I use. So we've got Arma's protein supplement. This is 100% grass-fed whey. This is the very vanilla flavor. So what I'm gonna do now, I'll put a scoop and a half of that in this bottle, get some protein in me, because we got about 3.5 hours before the first race. So get some of that in me. Use this is Blitz. It's a training complex, flavors berry blast. It's got all kinds of stuff, and I can't pronounce some of it. Scott would do a better job of this, but yeah, Arma, Scott's here this weekend, making sure we're fueled up. It's gonna be a good one. What's your plan for today? You gonna try and win?
Yeah.
How many people you think you'll have in your class?
Oh,
A lot?
I've seen a lot of kids over there that come track
Yeah.
with.
Oh, with number plates on?
I've seen at least 3, 2.
What's your plan, to get the whole shot?
Pretty much, and then lead the rest of the race.
You got a backup plan in case you don't get the whole shot? Did you look for passing lines on those sighting laps?
Kinda chill out for the first lap, and then get the second lap, just push hard. And
Yeah, I like it. All right, it's we're about 30 minutes out from race number 1. Colin's getting ready. Everybody's getting suited up. There's Adam.
What's up, Luke?
You ready?
Ready? I'm ready.
Title hunt. Hey, there's 63 riders registered today. That's 35 more than last year. It's insane. So we're getting ready. We've got the 6D. We've got the Arma. We've got the Cush course. We've got the riders. I'm just thankful we're having this race. So we'll see you guys on the starting line. The race went off. Awesome start. There were 63 riders, and I mean, you know, I'm the first class to go on the team. Nathan would be the first class, but since he didn't make it, it goes pro and then amateur. I'm in the amateur class, so my class, and then Adam Mayhew, who Adam is, I mean, he's contending for a national championship this year. We were pre-riding the course a little bit too late. We show up and we're like, oh, we're ready to go racing. We got in the second row, right? Our class is so big, there's 2 rows, and we were so late that we got a spot in the second row.
So Adam and I are lined up far left, second row. We take off, and Adam just darts to the inside, and I think he comes out second or third off the hole shot, which was my goal for him, was to get that. My goal for this race is to finish and to try to crack top 10. Adam's goal is to win this race. On your right. Yep. Thanks, man. On your left, my man.
Thank you. Sorry about that, dude.
Colin, as you can see on his footage, I mean, he was pretty much riding by himself most of the time, passing a lot of lap riders.
Right.
Fortunately, unfortunately for him, I mean, he was in second place the whole time. Barry is no joke, and I mean, beyond getting around the lappers, Colin was riding by himself the entire time, but put in a really strong showing for second place. And then Cooper Kneff, I mean, his goal was to win, but he's got a really tough rider that he's got to contend with this year. So Coop got the whole shot and then quickly slid back to second. And they battled pretty much the entire race. Adam led the entire race up until the last lap, and he had a really strong rider just on his heels the entire race, and was kind of pacing him. And the last lap, last minute, he beat Adam by, I think, a second, maybe less than a second.
Second, I think.
No, you did. I saw him come across, but I think you're the next guy.
Who's fast? He's the guy.
Fast, dude.
I kind of like my job all right too. I'll tell you that right now. Well, Emily, out of Vermont, I'm sure you.
It's only a 2.5 laps.
Oh, okay. Well, you got your. Maybe they just typoed up there. But anyway, from Utah, good to have you out here. What do you think about Georgia and these electric mountain bikes?
Georgia's awesome, and e-bikes are awesome.
This right here is James Mayhew. James, welcome to eMTB GNCC, man.
Hey, it's great. It was an awesome track, great time. Kudos to this guy. He rode my wheel the whole time and beat me in the last lap.
Oh, no, that did not happen.
It was pretty rough. That's a hard one to swallow.
I have to think, getting beat like that, you got to come back, right?
I'll be back for sure. I hope we have a few more of those throughout the year. It's going to be awesome.
So tell me about your race.
Had a real good race. Was close to Barry on the first lap, and I mean, honestly, he laid down the wood, and he just took off, and I just kind of rode my own race and just tried to push as hard as I could everywhere I could, and yeah, just ended up second. I mean, I'd really like to thank Luke Nestler of Luke Nestler Racing. His company Impakt Media started a eMTB team this year. It's just awesome, the excitement that we have with them. 60 helmets is jumped on board, as well as Armor Nutrition. I was using that today. I felt super hydrated, never had any cramping. I just felt good, you know, and could push through today as much as I could possibly push through. Always want to thank the guys at Walmsley Cycles for helping out, supporting me, and letting me go to the races. And kind of similar to what Adam said, you know, man, I'm running those push boards and I can just bash through stuff, don't worry about flat tires, and I'm good to go.
So about you folks in Fairmont and over there in the Morgantown, Fairmont area, why are you guys so fast on these electric bikes like this, man?
Cooper!
So tell me about your race today, Coop.
I got the whole shot, and then I went into the wood over there, and the quad stopped me, and they got by me, and then I passed all of them, and then kept up with Mitch, and he just pulled away from me.
Oh man, so you saw Mitch out there during the race?
Yeah.
Give you some incentive, did it?
What?
Did it make you want to try to catch him?
Yeah.
And is it going to make you want to come back and try to beat him next time?
Yeah.
Well, that's incentive right there. That's what we call incentive. So you got that incentive to come back. So congratulations, Coop, on a second place position finish here. I'm expecting to see you back out in more of these, okay?
Yeah.
I expect you to try to beat Mitch over here too, all right?
Yeah.
All right, who do you want to say thanks to?
My mom and dad, Luke Nestler, Impakt Media, Walmsley Cycles, 60, Cushcore, and Armor.
Great.
Yeah, forgot.
Anybody forgot? Cooper Knupp, ladies and gentlemen, taking second.
All right, dude, how'd it go? You got second.
Track was awesome.
The race was great. You know, it's pretty painful to lead the entire race and lose it on the last lap by a second. I think someone pointed out that it was like 1.7 seconds. But all in all, pretty happy. Bike was awesome, track was awesome. All the gear was great. I took a nasty digger.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Early pre-riding, 60 helmets. Literally, I smashed my head against the tree. Obviously, Fishboard had sweet.
There were some sharp edges out there for sure.
For sure. I wonder how many people had mechanicals or issues. But I don't know. Good race.
Yeah, man.
Awesome time.
Sweet. How'd it go?
It went great. You know, I had a really good battle at the beginning of the race with Barry Ray. And man, to be honest with you, I just kind of settled in and had to ride my own race to make sure I got through it. My goal is to not get lapped by the pros, to stay on the lead lap, and that worked out. But yeah, Barry was just he was better than me today, and yeah, it worked out good. Had no issues with any of my equipment. Man, to be honest with you, man, I was really stoked on how I felt for the race, from just the prep work that I did with my Arma. It felt good. It didn't really affect my belly at all, as far as in a negative way, and I felt hydrated and really could push through. And yeah, stoked, man. Really
cool.
Yeah.
I came up short on my goal. Obviously, I wanted to get a top 10, but I know I'm not really where I need to be fitness-wise yet. I'm getting there. I got 12th, so goal for right now is top 10. Goal by the end of the year is top 3. And I was holding pace with the guy that I needed to be battling with for that 10th place spot. Crashed and didn't have what it took to get back up to him. Everybody knows what they need to do to improve, right? Cooper knows what he needs to work on. Adam and Colin all, they got second place. Each one of them got second. I think they know what they need to do to improve. I obviously know what I need to do to get better. And then we still have to see where Nathan is gonna slot in. I mean, the pro class is no joke. The guy that's at the top of the sport right now, Charlie Mullins, is, in my opinion, he's unbeatable. So it's just a matter of where can Nathan slot in between 2nd to 5th. I think it could be that top 5 contender. So we'll have to see. But all in all, race number 1, you know, I'm just thankful we got it in. We're not sure when we're going racing again. Hopefully it stays on schedule, but you know, everything is so up in the air right now. So now we're back to training and just continuing to hammer it, so that if we do go off in Somerset, PA, at the beginning of May, we're going to be ready.